Tangible pieces of technology change so rapidly, sometimes it's hard to keep up with everything. And then there's the question of what do you do with your old pieces of technology? Most end up getting trashed, and hopefully some will get recycled. But then some things end up in museums, such as the Computer Museum in Mountain View, California, or in an attic or basement and eventually thrown out. If the items are lucky, they might end up on eBay. On today's episode of Rocketboom Tech, I'm going to show you some interesting tech finds and deals that I think might become collectible one day, or they're already collectible and might go up in value at some point. Might. While searching for these things online, it's good to keep two things in mind: condition and rarity. Are they in mint condition, meaning that the item is in a perfect state, still in the original, never opened packaging? Or are they in near mint, meaning the item is in perfect or like new condition with no flaws? And while it may come with the original packaging, near mint items have usually been opened before. If an item is listed as being in mid condition, good condition, or fair condition, it probably has some visible flaws associated with a moderate amount of use. For most objects, mid condition could be interpreted as nearly worthless, but bear in mind that the item's condition has on its value a secondary to the item's scarcity. Some items might be so old and scarce, yet so sweet, even with no original boxing, it still might be worth a fair price. Now, armed with the dual concepts of rarity and condition, let's look at some potential investments. A piece dating back to my childhood is the classic Nintendo Entertainment System and its cartridges, released in the US in 1985. It's collecting gone right, $13,000 right. After discovering an old NES system in their attic, a North Carolinian woman put up the system for sale on eBay, which quickly reached $6,000 and ultimately sold for over $13,000. Why? It included an incredibly obscure game from 1987 called Stadium Events and the original cardboard box to the unit. Only about 25 copies are said to be in existence. Inspired? Let's take a look at some more items that might be worth a pretty penny. There's a great website called The Rarity Guide that lends a helping hand to figuring out what's worth what in the game console world. Copies of an Atari game called Sword Quest Waterworld are selling on eBay for anywhere from $75 to $189 for the cartridge alone, while those that include the manual are listed between $500 to $999. What about old computing systems or cell phones? One item that brings a laugh and some nostalgia is the old brick phone, going for around $150 new on eBay. But I think in the next few years, it'd be a good investment because they're becoming harder to find and increasingly nostalgic pieces. Remember, the mobile era is just beginning. A first edition iPhone unopened would probably be worth a museum's fare in the future, which takes me back to the PC. Such as the Altair 8800 by Texas Instruments for around $2,000, the Commodore 64 valued from $10 to $300, but probably more valuable because it's one of the Rocketboom signature computers, 1981's IBM PC for $50 to $500, declared the first personal computer by some, Kenback 1, goes for $12,000 plus. TRS-80 Model 1 by Tandy, released in 1977, is still just a trash 80 for as little as $25, and many, many more. Of course, I've got to give a shout out to Apple because of their unique and groundbreaking designs are already in the Museum of Modern Art, which will certainly be collectible in the future. The original iBook from 2000 and iPod released in 2001 are both on display and rooming in the same house that carries Picassos, Van Goghs, and Pollocks. It's safe to say that MoMA is a tastemaker, and these items will most certainly go up in price. A loaded iBook goes for around $300 on eBay, and as of August 09, you could still purchase the first generation refurbed iPod for around $129 on eBay. Here's a great tip on rarity. If the object is not that rare, like a Commodore 64 for example, you can just go in and if you have a lot of time, place a low bid on an unreserved item and sit it out. You may not win most auctions, but with common items, you may eventually win at an investor's price. So overall, no matter what you collect and the longer you hold on to these rare items, the better your chances are of making a nice profit. Just keep them in good condition. I'm Ellie Roundtree and this has been Rocketboom Tech.